It's middle Monday on a Tuesday. I got too busy yesterday. I'm sorry. Sometimes Monday are crazy for me, especially when I'm traveling because I got tournaments or whatever's going on, and then I get back and I have this built up list of stuff I have to get done. And that was the case yesterday. So I was very busy yesterday. Hey, got a lot of things done. Do my mental money on Tuesday. So I'm going to address a question that was asked a whole bunch 2 weeks ago when I was doing the mental Monday. We had 3 people comment about the question, and then I'll talk about something else I want to talk about, maybe ruffle a few feathers. And hey, we get to do a Mental Monday. We get to just talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. If you guys have any questions, you guys, no matter what platform you're watching this on, if you ask the questions, I will see it, and then I can then address the questions that are being asked. So the question that was asked 2 weeks ago was, there's a lot of forms of this, but why is my son more aggressive in practice than they are in matches? And I think the answer to this is pretty easy and obvious a little bit if you've been coaching as long as I have. And that's obviously in practice, they have a level of comfortability and they're not worried about the outcome, right? Whereas in the match, they're thinking about, oh, if I lose this, this is what happens. And you know what? I just had a good conversation with the athlete who I've kind of been working on this topic with that person. And it's not so much aggressive in practice versus matches, but it's consistency of aggression, right? So some matches they're really aggressive and they wrestle really well, other ones, and it doesn't seem to be predicated on like in a big match they let down. It's just like it's once in a while and being consistent with that thing. And so the thing about it is, and I talk about this thought process a lot, but keeping the same level of competitiveness no matter what kind of match you're doing, right? No matter what you're doing, you're just focused on scoring points. And if you do that, if you can just think about just that, life becomes so much easier. Okay. So, I gave him the point of like, hey, if one guy's losing and the other guy's winning, the guy losing, this is one simple thing, is never thinking about retaining his lead because he doesn't have a lead. He can't think about retaining it. All he's thinking about is, how do I score points so I'm not losing anymore? Whereas lots of times you guys can probably think of a lot of matches where you've seen the guy who's winning the match, they all of a sudden they just start trying to hang on, right? They're not wrestling aggressive anymore. They're just wrestling to hang on and keep their lead. So now that person is not thinking about, how do I score more points, right? I got a lead. I've scored points. I got the lead here. How do I keep scoring points to keep, scoring more points to get a higher lead? They're thinking about, how do I retain my lead? And when they think about that, they're not thinking about wrestling. They're not thinking about wrestling anymore, right? They're thinking about preserving their lead and winning the match. That is not effective to winning matches. So when we're thinking about being aggressive, we want to be aggressive everywhere. Okay. And that comes from focusing on the correct things. And the correct things is, how do I score points? Nothing else. Just how do I score? Very literal things like, how do I connect my hands to them? How do I get a single leg? How do I finish the single leg? And if we're thinking about those type of things, it becomes really easy to score points and stay aggressive. It's not predicated on your emotional feeling, what type of match it is, what the coach is saying in the corner. None of these things, right? Because what you want out of your athlete, whether you're a parent or the coach, is just for the athlete to go compete as hard as they can all the time. Just compete. Go compete. That's it. Just wrestle as hard as you can every time. Score as many points as you can every single time. It's all I want. Let's just focus on that simple thing. And obviously, if we focus on that simple thing, all of a sudden a lot of good things start happening, right? And a big one that parents, they don't realize they're doing a disservice to their athlete or child, but when they talk about not making mistakes. So when you start talking about not making mistakes, then again, you start thinking about things that are not like, how do I score points? You're thinking about, how do I not make mistakes? Right? Then the mistakes happen because you're thinking about it, right? You're really putting mental energy towards that, right? You clam up. All of a sudden you want to do anything because, if I do something, I'm going to make a mistake. This is not good for wrestling. All right, hold on. Brandon, do you have a set of core techniques you stick with during the off season? Obviously, it depends on what group I'm coaching. With the younger kids, we're really just focused on building a core set of techniques that are going to be successful all the way through the wrestling careers. So guys, doesn't matter what age you are, single legs work, front headlock or manta scoring, you need that. Good sprawl, down block, you need those things, right? So younger groups, we are worried about just building basic skills. Older groups, obviously, it varies depending on what do we see, right? If there's one thing, I'll give you this is a younger guys, but simple. The opponent's on a head outside shot, stop the head, grab ankle, put the hips in. Like we weren't doing that well. We're doing a lot of junk, like going over the head or trying to sit through the crotch. Like, no, let's just do this well. So we're gonna focus on that technique. Obviously, with our older groups, there's a lot higher level things. Obviously, for higher level guys, there are probably a broader set of skills that you need to have a basic understanding on to make sure you're winning big matches. In freestyle, defending leg lace, scoring gut wrench, defending gut wrench, lace transitions off takedowns, working seatbelt positions, edge tactics, right? So there are a lot of things. And so you kind of, I try to always take an aggregate of what we're doing. Obviously, with certain individuals, we may focus on a little bit different things, but as a group, it's like, what is the group doing well? What are they doing poorly? Because a lot of times that's indicative on what our coaching, how our coaching's doing. So is your way to motivate your athletes? Do not wrestle to lose. Yeah. Score as many points as possible. A tie. I constantly tell my athletes, like, all I give a crap about is your effort. If you give me great effort, I can do the rest of it. Right? If you can give me great effort. And I always say, I have not had an athlete who's given me great effort over a long period of time. So I'm not talking about a week, 2 weeks, a month. I'm talking about like years. Like I've never had athletes give me great effort over a course of years and not had a really high level of success. Because we can usually take care of the rest. Robert, what's up, man? Do you look for position, pressure, and reshots? Do you look for your setups? Yeah, so obviously, especially in freestyle. So if we're talking about like continuing to score point, aggression to me doesn't always mean just shoot, right? Obviously, especially in folk style, there should be a decent amount of shooting going on if we want to be aggressive. In freestyle, shooting can obviously be detrimental if we don't know what we're doing underneath there. And so, like being aggressive in the hand fight, getting the ties you want to get to, that's a big one right there, right? If we let our opponent dictate what ties he's getting to and start controlling because we're relaxing, we're getting defensive. Now, if they're getting to where they're comfortable, they're way more likely to score. So just like in the hand fight, getting to the positions you want to get to and continue to be aggressive there, maybe without even shooting, right? Sometimes you don't have to shoot to be aggressive or, right, continue to fake and snap. And that way you're keeping them off balance, right? Because they can never get the balance if you're faking. But if you're standing there, you're sitting duck, right? They get their tie. They can set you up. They get to move you. Then they get to attack you. That's going to be no good. And so, yeah, I think that's important. Aggression can mean kind of a lot of different things. It doesn't have to mean a lot of people take it as just shooting, right? That doesn't necessarily have to mean just shooting. Shooting, especially in folk style, is definitely a big part of it. Freestyle, you need to be more discerning on when's a good times to attack and which attacks to take. Head outside specifically are right. There are a lot of risks with that in freestyle. Okay. Hey, the other topic, and if you guys ask questions, maybe we'll keep answering questions. The other thing I want to talk about, this one, I don't know. It hurts my brain, and it came up. I was thinking about it on Sunday, and I just don't know why people do it. I don't know why customers put up with it. So obviously, we own wrestling businesses. It has always, since the beginning, been our policy. If we do a dual meet tournament, we're only taking AWA kids. That is it. Nobody else. There has been maybe twice where we literally do not have one heavyweight in the entire system, right? None of the AWAs are no heavyweights. So we'll ask a heavyweight to be on our team. That would be like the one and only time we've done, like a pickup of other athletes. But I was thinking and looking at some other things and some, especially like the NHSCA duels, for example, they're coming up. A lot of these teams take all-star teams. Dimitri, you know how we roll. AWA only. Here's what I don't understand. Please, someone explain this to me for the life of me. I have a wrestling academy. Okay. Not AWA because we don't do this shit. I have a wrestling academy. And we have 40 kids, right? And let's say there's a 140-pound spot. I got a couple 140-pounders. They're not very good. But, hey, they show up to practice. They pay their dues. I try to help them. So I'm going to go to a dual tournament, and I had to fill a 140-pound spot. And then I say, well, those kids, they're not very good. But I know what the skill level of my kids is. Okay? They're not very good. I'm going to go get this other guy to fill this spot because it'll make my team do better. So now, here's what you're doing. It's fucking crazy to me. Oh, I was not supposed to say F words. Delete that F word, somebody, please. It's crazy to me. So you're going to go help another kid, right? So if I'm coaching a dual meet tournament and there's 7 matches, every one of those 7 matches, right? I'm giving kids pointers, tips, what they do right, what they do wrong, how can these type of things, and I'm trying to help them be a better wrestler, to have more success in matches. And so if someone's paying me, right now, essentially, if I can coach the guy who's paying my academy dues, if I can coach them good enough, they're eventually going to be competing with those other kids, right? That are better than them at the time. And we've had this happen a lot of times at AWA. So for these other academies who have members paying dues, and then they all of a sudden say, these kids are not good enough. So I'm going to go coach other kids who are not paying club dues. They're paying dues probably to somebody else just to make myself look better and make my team. I can't understand it. I really don't understand the thought process. I can't understand what other club coaches are doing or thinking in there. Yeah, just don't get it. Our philosophy has always been, we're going to coach the kids that are in our room. We're going to coach them. And if we can coach them good enough, if we can get them to buy in, if we can get them to learn basic skills, they're going to be competing with those kids who are better over time. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but they will be competing with those kids. So we're going to coach the kids that we have. We're not going to say, oh, my kid's not good enough. I want to go recruit this other kid because I can't freaking coach. No. And I don't understand how clients, right? So if you were a client of that person, say my daughter plays, well, my daughter's wrestle too. My daughter's, let's say they play soccer too, right? So if I'm paying dues to a soccer club, which I am, and they said, Alex is not good enough, we're going to get somebody else from a different club. I'd be like, bro, what am I paying you for? Why am I paying you? If you don't think she can do the job or you can coach her to do the job, why am I paying you? You're going to help somebody else who's not paying you. You're going to help somebody else you're going to help them be better than her. You're giving the other person, you're giving them the experience, you're giving them matches, you're giving them the wisdom, giving them all. No, sorry, ain't doing it. I'm going to find a different club. And I would hope my clients do the same thing to me. And so for other clubs, I don't really understand how they justify that behavior. It freaking blows my mind that their clients put up with that behavior. It's freaking crap. It is total crap. Okay. Now I understand some of these clubs, they're literally just all-star teams. All they do is duels, but there are clubs, little clubs who have businesses, who coach kids, who decide kids in their room are not good enough, and they go get other kids to coach who are not paying them. It's such a dirtbag move, in my opinion. So that's a Mental Monday and a little bit of, I don't know, business advice, I guess, for some other client. And, hey, if you're a client of one of those clubs who thinks your kid sucks and isn't good enough to be on a dual team, and they go get somebody else who's not a paying client because they think your kid, go somewhere else. Go somewhere that believes in your kid, that they can help them coach them, right? Because if they're not willing to put that effort in there, your kid isn't going to get better because the coach is not putting effort into them. So, all right, that's all I got. Peace. I'm out.